Hey everybody, I'm back. We're back, right? I'm here with Kyle Adams. This is the first one in a while. Kyle is the first one that I reached out to after seeing his stuff on LinkedIn. Just to give you a quick background, I'll let Kyle take it away. But Kyle's an account executive too, if I'm getting that right, has been in sales for the longest time. You will see his stuff all over LinkedIn. We're gonna get to that. He is a dog fan, as in the UGA, right? We'll get into a little bit of that maybe as well at the end. But he is an up and coming person that I personally find value in. I wanted to have him on here for a while, and he was the first person. So, Kyle, thank you, man. Thanks for being part of the show.
Awesome, Dave. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. And full transparency, this is one of my first ones. I brushed my teeth before. I know it's Zoom, but
Yeah,
for
I mean,
whatever
look, you
reason,
got the
I feel like
button
I need to do
unbuttoned.
that.
I mean, you're going casual.
I'm
I
going
mean, that's
casual. I'm,
fine.
I'm wearing my new
I know, I know.
championship
You have your dog
back
shirt
shoes.
on. I know. UGA. I mean, hell, they may win it again. Yeah, I mean, they may go three-peat, but you got to find a quarterback now. So we'll see how it plays. But we'll get to that. We may talk UGA at the end. So, well, look, the reason I was serious. You were one of the first ones I reached out to because literally, I don't know what it is about the algorithm on LinkedIn, right? The almighty algorithm. I see a lot of your stuff, right? And I haven't clicked that little bell yet. Like maybe I will, right, when it automatically pops. But I see a lot of your stuff, man. So, like, what got you down that road? Like, what started that journey on, like, LinkedIn? Like, yeah, man, this is like who I am. Like, you even called yourself an influencer. I was like, true. I was like, I'm not there yet, right? I just post for the hell of it. But like, what started you down that path?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And sometimes I still ask that question to myself, like, why am I consistently posting? And if you went back in time and told my English teachers in middle school and high school that I would be a writer consistently, I think they would laugh at you because I was sent to summer school in middle school to actually learn how to write better because I was pretty poor at it. But I think it really just is a creative outlet for me, right? Like I view LinkedIn and really I forget who I initially saw. It might have been like a Justin Welsh or
Yep.
one of those big names posting consistently. And I said, you know what? I I want to find a creative outlet and I want to start doing something similar. So I just started posting my thoughts. And then next thing you know, people started reacting to it. They started reaching out to me. I was having more and more conversations with people who I would never potentially connect with. And then I saw the real value when next thing you know, I'm getting dozens of DMs a week. I have the opportunity to help people break into sales. And at the end of the day, like I really view LinkedIn as, beyond just a job update, right? I view
Oh
LinkedIn
yeah.
as something where I can connect with people I would never have that opportunity to connect with otherwise. So, you know what? I still ask myself, like, why am I posting today? But
Yeah.
now it's just shifted more into a creative outlet. And I really find a lot of joy pushing my ideas out. And then people come back to me and say, hey, Kyle, and a good example is my weight loss, right? I've lost like
Mhm.
20 pounds in the last 2 months, dozens of DMs, people coming to me and saying, hey, you inspired me to lose weight. And they're asking me for advice. And you know what? That brings me a lot of joy. So
That's
now
awesome.
it's really, turned into something where I can help people and I
Yeah.
can connect with people I would never otherwise have that opportunity.
That's awesome, man. So then, do you go every day? Is it like, hey, every day at 10 a.m. Eastern, I'm hitting the button, or like, like what's your mood?
Yeah, so some weeks I will plan out my material on a Sunday. Full transparency, the last few weeks it's been more, hey, like this idea comes to my mind, I'm gonna write it down, I'm gonna post it in the moment.
Yep.
It really just depends, right? Like
Yeah.
I need to get better with the consistency because I do go in spurts where I might write twice a day for a
Yeah.
week or two, then stop for 5 days. But one of my big goals for this year is to really be consistent on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And I actually even hired Darren McKee, and you may have some familiarity as
Here in
like,
Raleigh. Yeah. Him and his brother are him and his
yeah.
brother. If and first off, there's like three things I want to get to that you just said. But for those of you listening, Darren McKee, Eric McKee, I'm saying that right. And forgive me, sorry, Darren and Eric, if I get it wrong. Sass Brothers tremendous follow on LinkedIn. Awesome stuff, right? Like almost must watch TV, right? All right, so back to you and what you were saying. Do you
Yeah.
reach out to people? Like, do you DM people and say, "Hey, man, can we connect? I've seen your stuff," or is it more people reaching you and you're going to help, and likewise that way?
Yeah, great question. I really think it's 50-50. So, at first I didn't necessarily, and this is one of my regrets maybe early on, I didn't initially reach out to people. I would let people come to me. But now it's turned into more of like, hey, I'm going to put the effort and reach out to people that I want to connect with. And what I found is people are very open to connecting with you as long as you come to them with a thoughtful approach and saying,
Yeah.
like, like, I'm guilty of the whole pitch slap. When I first started in sales, I used to just pitch slap people, no value, not read their material. And, it didn't work. Now
Yep.
it's like, I want to follow that person, and then I'll reach out to them with like a thoughtful, hey, like I really liked your post about X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And I found that it doesn't matter if the person is a VP of sales, a CRO, a CEO, they'll come back to you and they'll give you the time as long as you show some effort. So now
Yeah.
it's really shifted more into me doing 50%. And then I still get a lot of people that come to me. So it's probably a 50-50 model today.
Have you gotten like mentorship out of that? Is it more just, hey, one like random thought here and there? Like, is it like a one-time shot, or do you find it to be an ongoing relationship that you formed out of reaching out to somebody?
Yeah. So I think a really good example is my life coach. So full transparency, about 5 months ago, not necessarily in the best place mentally,
Yep.
kind of burnt out,
Yep.
not really a clear direction on where I wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my old managers at Oracle actually reached out to me and connected me with a life coach through LinkedIn. And his name is Zach Paul. I'm happy to give him a shout out. Awesome guy. But I made that relationship through LinkedIn, and he still is my life coach today. And it's changed my life for the better, right? Like I seriously was in a pretty down place, but
Yeah.
now like I made that relationship through LinkedIn. And another example, going back to Darren, right? Like reach out to him, saw his coaching, and now he mentors me from a social branding aspect. So I'm finding all of my coaches and mentors through LinkedIn today. So I view LinkedIn as like, if you're not networking and finding people to build you up with it, I almost view it as like you're not taking advantage of the platform as
Oh,
for
yeah.
what it's meant to be.
Oh, yeah. It is the most I have found, for me, I started a couple years ago when I joined the current company, and I just started posting on LinkedIn. I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing here, but I'm going to try this and see what the hell works. And then the first, like, I don't know, like 90 days, like sucked. Right. And then there was a moment, I think I had like one person, like internally, came and said, "Hey, man, I really like your stuff." Like one random person, unsolicited. And I was like, you know what? I was like, maybe. And then, like anything, hopefully it gets better. I was talking to you before we were just hit the record button here. Some of my stuff just sucks, right? Just any given day. And I don't plan my stuff out. I have always found I just wake up, I think I'm at work, I kind of hit it around 10 or 11 a.m. Whatever has kind of come to me that day, I probably should get a little better at it. But you know what? I've always found I want to be in the moment and just kind of write as I think. And sometimes that gets me in trouble. Sometimes it's, not bad. Who knows? Right. So
Yeah.
interesting. So you mentioned, and I have that as third. So it's going to be second now. Your mental health. You did post about this. You said, "Hey, I've gone to a therapist. It's okay. I have a stressful job." Right. Like it's not that big a deal. Right. It's not 15, 20 years ago where if you had said that, now I'm old enough to remember this, right? Where mental health wasn't even a saying, right? Like anything. Now we post about it, we talk about it, it's out there. Obviously, I think it has a ways to go, but you're pretty open about it, man. So were you always that way, or is that a step in the direction that you took as part of that help?
Yeah, so no, not definitely not always that way, right? I'm the youngest of two older brothers, and I want to say they're very supportive and caring of me, but growing up as the youngest brother by 8+ years, it's a sense of like, hey, you have to be tough and kind of grow up faster than you need to. And
Yeah.
always idolize my brothers and put them on a pedestal. And even to this day, right? Like they're awesome role models for me. But when it came to like my own mental health, I I had this fear almost of approaching someone and viewed myself as like almost having a problem. Why would you ever approach someone? You should fix your own problem, right? Is the way I viewed it. And I really had that mentality as of even this past year, probably when I was 26 years old. The first 26 years of my life, I internalized a lot of things. And then I realized, like, after seeing posts on LinkedIn from a lot of people who I had a lot of respect for, and see them say, hey, look, I battled X, Y, and Z. And I look at like Anthony Natoli is a great example. I think he was one of the influences who I saw, and he was like, hey, like I had a gambling problem and I had all these issues. And now I look at him like, wow, this guy's in such a great place. And seeing that kind of vulnerability also just made me realize that it's okay to be vulnerable. I'm not perfect. I have a lot of issues. And at the end of the day, like, it's okay to put your hands up and say, hey, like I need some help. So I think seeing people on LinkedIn, and my family's so supportive when I started seeing a life coach and all that. And my oldest brother, he's a pastor in my family, and he'll actually check in on me almost daily. And I'm very appreciative of that relationship because he has a family of his own, and he's 10 years older than me, and he doesn't have to do that. But you know what? Like, I've just realized it's okay to put your hands up and say, I need help. I'm not perfect. And now that I've done that, I can see that my life is a lot better because of it.
That's awesome, man. I think the first time that you say something on LinkedIn that's a little vulnerable, you're always like, hey, should I post this or not? And I know I do. Like, I stare at the button. I'm like, I don't know on this one, man. I don't know. Right. And then you hit the button. And then I found that those posts are the ones that get the most people kind of talking and saying, or a DM back. Right. And, I've seen a therapist. I don't know if I've ever even put that out there. I guess it's out there now. And I think it's, like, and my wife encouraged it for years. And I was like, now I'm going to grind my teeth. I'm no. I want to rub dirt on it. I'll be fine. Don't worry about it. I think in this day and age, with everything that is, thrown at us from a life perspective, from just being a good person, and then you throw in sales, which is not the easiest gig. No. Stuff, right? And, oh, by the way, like, we don't hit pause and stop recording here. So when the phone goes off, we just say screw it and just turn the phone off. So that's on me for that one, man. Sorry. But I mean, I think when you show people, hey, I'm not perfect, it's okay, hopefully that encourages people to kind of be the same way. And if you could help one person, then I think that's it. That's my rule that I've come to grow into. And I don't know how you feel, but that's my rule. If I can help one person, I'm good. Right. Yeah. And you don't know. Hopefully it does. Sometimes I wonder sometimes when I post, I'm like, I don't think I helped anybody. But hey, we tried. We tried for today. So okay. Let's kind of dive into your sales career, because your career has been, I don't want to say unique. I think it's interesting to me, right, in terms of that. So I found something online. So go back to when you were at that Nissan sponsorship, piece, right? Oh yeah, I did some homework, right?
You done pretty good.
Right? Oh yeah. I've done this before. So go back to that. Where was that? College?
Yeah, so that was in college. So I took over marketing for Nissan at sporting events, football, basketball, baseball. And if you want to talk about rejection and people saying no to you, I highly encourage you to do like a brand ambassador role and promote a product, and then try to get people to fill out a survey. Because I'll never forget, like, the first event, I was hyped up. My mom was actually working with me. I'm like, I'm going to get so many leads. Everyone's going to agree to this. We have some cool bags to give out. And I think, like, after the fifth no, I wanted to hide under the table. I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. So when you talk about sales and like learning to handle objection and moving into an SDR role, I can't think of a better experience, because I worked probably over 50 events throughout my career at Georgia for Nissan. And the first few were so uncomfortable and asking people to fill out a survey, even though they could get like a free bag. It was hearing no so many times, like was really discouraging. But then it's a good example of like, if you do things enough, you almost become numb to it. So
Mhm.
I think, I don't know, maybe the fourth or fifth event, I was like, you know what? Worst case scenario, they say no. I'm expecting it almost. So then
Right.
I noticed my numbers went from getting maybe 10 to 20 leads an event to getting 50 to 100 to more. And next thing you know, we're a top 5% in the whole country out of
Wow.
120 plus schools. And I'm amped up and I love it. I love the no. I'm like, you know what? A no's a quicker way to a yes. And that really taught me how to sell. And I attribute a lot of my success to that. So if you're in college and you're watching this right now, I encourage you to be like a brand ambassador for a brand, work some of those events, take some no's, and learn to overcome those objections. I attribute that a lot of my success to that.
So what got you in? I mean, first off, you did the first event with your mom. I love that idea, right? So that's awesome. So then what got you into it? Like you're what, a freshman, a sophomore? Like where
Yeah.
were you in your career or
Yes, I was
career?
a
Where were you in college?
Yeah, to provide a little bit more detail. So my brother was actually one of the main leads for the whole program. He was a college graduate, like I think a marketing director over like a 30 schools.
Right.
So that, that's the easiest way because he had the Georgia market and he's like, well, my brother goes to Georgia. This is a no-brainer. So he
Right.
said, Kyle, you're doing this, and really pushed me to it. And then my mom was like, I want to be a part of the family, experience. So she's like, I'll do it with you. And she was awesome. She used to
That's
set the table
great.
up and do all the decorating and all that. And like
That's
otherwise,
awesome, dude.
yeah. So
I
it was
mean, that's one of those memories I mean, we laugh about it, I kid, but that's one of those memories you can't replace that. Right. I mean, that's awesome. And I think I saw the pic and I was reading it and they were like, hey, that set me up. Right. So now let's just pull this thread. You come out of school, come out of UGA. Do you go right into a sales role? Do you go right into like the BDR, SDR role?
Yeah, great question. So right after college, I knew I wanted to do sales. Freshman year, I was pre-med. Mistake. I took chemistry, learned pretty quick. That was not for me. And to give you more family history, my dad's in sales, VP of sales, had a long career, still doing sales to this day. So I saw the potential and the opportunities that it opened up. Even lived in South America actually from that, and that's
That's
that's a
cool.
whole nother conversation. But
Sure.
knew I wanted to do sales. One of my family's really good family friends from the past in Alpharetta, Georgia. He worked at Oracle as a senior director,
Yep.
and at Georgia, heavily recruited by Oracle. I saw that program online, reached out to him, got a referral. Next thing you know, I'm going through the interview process with Oracle because it's a Fortune 100 company.
Mhm.
The more I researched, like really good SDR program, got
Mhm.
that opportunity. And then the locations were Santa Monica, Austin, Boston, and Reston. And my mom was like, you can't go all the way west to Santa Monica, but I'll let you go to Austin. I was like, okay, I'm going to Austin, never visited. And then I showed up and walked in the doors of Oracle and I was freaking out. Like I was
Right.
so nervous that first day, but you know what? Like it brought me back to the Nissan days of the rejection and saying, you know what? Worst case scenario, they're going to say no to me,
Yep.
overcome this, and I can be good at it. So that's kind of my story from college to the SDR program at
All right.
Oracle.
So I'm going to take you one more. So I mean, I know you're holding back a little in this story, but I'm gonna pull that out. Your first quarter didn't go so well, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
Didn't go so well, but I feel like everyone kind of struggles that first quarter. I
And
definitely
let me stop you. The first quarter didn't go well. And this is posted, right? I'm not like pulling Oracle records out here. It's like of a
it's
leaderboard, right?
posted. I didn't do
But you
well.
posted it up, but you said someone called you, if I'm not mistaken. And you had the conversation of, hey, change your mind or change your thinking and things will change, right?
Yeah,
Do you remember that? Am I getting that right?
yeah, you're getting it right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did that go? Like, what was that story on, and who called you?
Yeah. So a little bit of context, right? I wrote a post. I didn't do well in sales my first probably 6 months.
Uh-huh.
Um, I I think it really came down to me just just not handling the objection well, right? Like it went back to my first few events at Nissan, and I was kind of down and in the dumps the first few times. And one of my good friends, actually Ross Kroll, he's a college friend, had a conversation with him and was vocalizing my frustration, saying how my cold calls weren't going well, how my sales job as a whole, and he's a lawyer, awesome dude,
Mm-hmm.
um, just overall wasn't going well. And I'll never forget, he was like, look, like your mindset is pretty poor. You need to change your mindset and you need to have a more positive outlook, and things will probably change, because the Kyle that I know is a positive guy and someone who's not going to quit. And you know what? That I still remember that conversation. And from there, I said, you know what? It's not going to be easy. Sales is really hard. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you have an awesome brand like Oracle backing you. You're still going to face the objections and not necessarily just bank on the brand. But after that conversation, I found some mentorship at Oracle. I looked at the people who were performing well. I started mimicking a lot of the things they were doing and asking them for help and learning how they scheduled their days. And
Mm-hmm.
next thing you know, I was one of the best producers and turned it around in about 2 quarters. So
Yep.
for anyone that's an SDR watching this, like, you know what? I was seriously about to quit. I was like, should I do marketing? Should I go into finance? I'm good at math. I like economics, but I'm really glad I stuck around, because now I love it, right? Like
Yeah.
every day I have the opportunity to help people, and I have
Yeah.
the opportunity to do something that I love. And at first I didn't have that mindset. So Ross, I'm going to send this to you afterwards, but I really thank you for that conversation. You changed my life more than you realize. I need to remind you again.
That's amazing, man. And, I think we all have a few moments in our life where the path can go in so many ways, right? And if that conversation doesn't occur, what happens? Do you turn it around? Maybe, maybe not, who knows, right? But the fact that you recognize and go, okay, that's the point when I went this way, and now you took it, and that momentum builds, right? And then you went into an AE role there. Now, you did post. I mean, obviously you left. They had great people over there. I have friends over there as well, and I'm sure you still have friends over there, right? But you said, hey, look, you took an opportunity, and you said, hey, I want to explore something, and you went from this big old monster over here to this pretty much, hey, like, we're coming, right? We're coming, but it's not quite the same. Why? Like, what
Yeah.
made you make the move?
Yeah, I think there's a couple reasons why, right? First and foremost, a challenge, and to really see if I can actually sell. So at Oracle, pretty good producer. I think I hit close to 200%, 2 million ARR my first year as an AE. But
Yeah.
I really said, hey, I want to see how good I really am. And there's no better way to see how good you are than to go to a company that's not as recognized as Oracle and really prove yourself. So I think first I was like, my confidence was pretty high. I was like, people were coming to me for help. I was doing pretty well. I was on top of the world. And I was like, you know what? Let's see how good I really am. So I think that's the first point, right? Like I just wanted to see how good I actually was. And then second, at the end of the day, like at Oracle, it didn't matter if I closed 40 million, 100 million, maybe 100 million. Larry Ellison would probably know who I was, but I was a number, right? Like and nothing wrong with that,
Mm-hmm.
right? I might work for a large company again, but I wanted to have a little bit more of a say. And I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to take more of a leadership responsibility at a smaller organization where I could have like a direct line of communication with the leadership to make changes happen. So I think those 2 points are the main reasons why I left.
That's awesome, man. And then you left, and now you're crushing over there. You're crushing over there at Vanta, right? And I see all your stuff about, hey, Monday to Thursday sucked. Friday I had two closed ones, against my top competitors, right? And things change. things change like that. But you did post something out, and this is vulnerable / you just kind of bared and said, here's what I made. Here's what I made as a BDR. I'm sure you remember the post, right? Because I'm sure it's one of your top ones, right? And I looked at it. I had to look at it twice. You had like 1,000 likes on it and like some sort of like crazy amount. And I can only imagine the inbox of what happened. But you literally said, here's what I made in year 1. Here's what I made in year 2. You put the companies down. Here's what I made in year 3. And I'll say the numbers. Year 3 was like 250, right? Or 250 plus, something like that, which is phenomenal. But then you put down, I wrote them down. And I don't know if you have time for all of them, but the first one you put is patience, which I haven't heard you talk yet here. So I'm curious on that. Like, what is that? Like, what do you mean by that in terms of that being the number one thing that you wrote down in terms of, hey, take away here?
Yeah. And I view patience even back to like the Nissan role, right? Like the first few events wasn't very good, right? Like it takes time to get good at something. Let's go back to the Oracle SDR role. First quarter or two, pretty bad, pretty average, towards the bottom of the leaderboard. So when I say patience, I really look back at like the beginning of my sales career. You're not going to be an elite seller. You're not going to be the best. And you know what? Some people, maybe they're more gifted. They might be right from the get-go. That's not me. I had to have patience, and I had to see that, long term, there's a lot of potential for me to be really good. It's just going to take some time, and I'm going to have to put in the work. So, you know what? To go back to those first two, I think patience was really key. First few events, pretty bad. A lot of objections from people not wanting to fill out the survey. Overcame it, got better at it. SDR role, hitting 50, 60, 70%, not even close to my quota. Took a lot of patience and me realize that it's going to take time, and I'm going to have to put in the work in order to see the results. So I think that is the bigger thing about patience. You got to build up the strengths, and it takes time. It's not something that happens immediately. Maybe 1 in a million. Yeah, they come in, they're amazing on the phone day one, and I've seen those people. It's not me. It takes time.
Yeah, that's so good. I always think per episode that I do, what minute clip am I going to put out there that people are like, hey, look, you may not listen to this. I get it, but you should listen to that. That's probably it. That's probably it. That's really good. And I think in this, look, I'm gonna sound old here, so forgive me for anybody listening, and you too, Kyle. But I think we try and rush everything now. Everything's immediate. How I have 2 kids, and I'm like, if you had told me 20 years ago that I'd be carrying, let's see, 20 years, let's say 30 years ago, I'd be carrying, and I know, I get it. You don't have to say what you're thinking. 30 years ago, I'd be carrying around a phone, talking into it, ordering pizza off of it, pretty much brought to my door within about 25 minutes of any restaurant around or pizza delivery around. I would have thought you were like on Mars. That's the equivalent of me saying, yeah, we're going to be on Mars. Even that to me is halfway relative. We have a robot there, right? So the patience element to me is like, yeah, you know what? It takes time. And it doesn't mean that you don't try and do better and all that, right? But it takes time. And you'll get there. Kind of like the quarterbacks, your Stetson, Bennett guy out there, right? He's, little plug for Stetson out there if you're listening. So good. All right. So let's kind of wrap this up a little bit. Let's have some fun here at the end. Okay. So a little true false, we can kind of get into it. Is it true that you're the backup bachelor? Like you went for it, but Zach, beat you out? I mean, is that true? Like TMZ, maybe a TMZ lead I can like pass on or something? No?
Yeah, no, that's true for sure. I got beat out by Zach, and you know what? He's an awesome dude. He deserves it more than me. But Zach is one of my best friends. Met him at Oracle. Awesome dude. If you're not watching The Bachelor, or if you never watched The Bachelor, I'll be honest, I've never really watched it.
No, don't lie. That's fine. Look, I'm in. Look, I mean, all my close friends know I watch. Right, with my wife. No, I watch. Right.
Yeah, I've watched every season. All right.
You're right. So, but Zach, you knew Zach at Oracle.
Yeah.
right? All right, so that means you can get his tickets, and maybe you get like a cameo. Like maybe he's gonna have like a hometown date. I don't know. Just saying.
No
Saying.
comment. No comment. It's only been episode 1. Nothing can
Just
be.
saying. I'm just gonna throw it out there. No spoilers. I don't want to get you in trouble. Okay, 2. So now, if I said you can keep the job right now where you're at, okay, I'm sure people there are like going to listen to this, or assistant offensive coordinator for UGA. I mean, that could be your big break, man. It could be the big break. All right, no comment. We'll go with no comment on that. I won't get you in trouble.
You know
okay?
what? No. I'm gonna open book. I'm gonna say this. I want Georgia to have the chance to win again. I'm not taking that.
All right. Well played.
I'm staying at Atlanta for the long haul. I'm not leaving
played.
because I
All
want
right. Last one. If you're talking to your mom, explain Twitter.
Well, she uses Twitter more than
She
me.
uses Twitter. Okay, got it.
Uses Twitter.
I never had someone who actually had their mom use Twitter. Okay, got it. That screws up my question.
Dave, you know what? She might have to explain it to me because I don't actually use Twitter that much. But
that's ridiculous.
No comment.
That's ridiculous. All right, and last question on a serious note: what's the big thing coming for you in 2023? What are people going to look for and say, okay, man, I heard about it. Kyle said it, and yeah, it came true.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me in 2023 is to help more people than I've ever helped my whole life, right? Like my goal is to mentor people. My goal is to ultimately be the best version of myself. Mm-hmm. And if you want to quantify that, I want to help dozens of people break into sales because people don't see like the DMs that I get and the conversations that I take. It brings me a lot of joy. So I think the big thing for 2023 is just to help as many people as I can. That's the number one goal. And also maybe to get a 6-pack, but we'll see.
Look, man, that's, you know what? You post that. I don't know. I'm gonna leave that one alone. Get in good shape, right? I'm trying as well. Trust me, it's a whole lot easier to stay there than get back into it. But look, I think your stuff on LinkedIn is phenomenal. I've gotten to know you a little bit more here in the past half hour, and I hope everybody did too. I think you're going to be somebody that I can watch now for the next 10 to 15 years, and it's going to be fun. And I really, really going to enjoy to see what you do, because I don't think even yet what's out there. Awesome. Right. And I think that's going to be cool to watch. And, maybe as I, sail off into the sunset and do my thing, I can watch, guys like you keep it going, man. So, well, Kyle, thank you. Seriously, thank you. I didn't get to half my notes, but we'll run this back, and keep doing your thing out there, man.
Awesome. Dave, it's been awesome to be a part of this. I've really enjoyed the conversation. And you know what? LinkedIn's kind of weird because I feel like I've engaged with you and commented on your things, and we've never actually had a conversation. So I'm so happy we've taken it off the comments and off the likes and had this conversation today.
That's awesome. To everybody else out there, man, listening, thank you. I have, I think, 3 or 4 more guests lined up. I am rolling now. So it's going to be one hell of a 2023. But be good, be safe, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers.